Hello, everybody. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic, host of Bachelor Nation News. We are recording this live from the cabin in North Carolina. The heat is still sparse, but I'm going to warm things up for you. We've got Blake Moynes on the She's All Batch podcast. Says, I was there from the start about his venture to Katie Thurston's season. I know, we're barrel scraping, folks. There isn't too much in the news. Hey, by the way, Merry Christmas. I hope you got everything you wanted. I'm still here, so you must have had something in your stockings, right, folks? But why producers stalled on his entrance. He's going to get into that right now on the She's All Batch podcast. Let's have a listen. Plus, he's going to disclose a little bit about what it was like passing the baton from Claire as Bachelorette to Tayshia, and why he was in a very unique position as he had found feelings for both. Have a listen.
In Bachelor Nation to have done 2 seasons. My biggest question is, how did that go about coming back? Like, do they approach you? Did you ask? Like, what was that situation?
So it was I was anticipating I was planning to go to Paradise. The paperwork was done, all that was already set up.
Instead of Katie's season?
But yes, then as soon as Katie was announced as a Bachelorette, that's when I called them because I wanted to go to meet her.
So this is the first time I think we're learning of Blake actually saying he was going to be on Bachelor in Paradise. It would have been a great addition to Bachelor in Paradise. Of course, by getting on Katie's season, he almost upped his value to a point where he became too hot for Bachelor in Paradise. Of course, he was also engaged at that point, even though it was a quick turnaround. Wasn't able to make it for last season. Then I'm sure, having been exposed to 2 Bachelorette seasons in a row, then there's that cool-off period. My guess is if he wants it, he'll be back this coming summer.
So she was when I made the switch, I called to pursue her.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's interesting. So they were like, jackpot. We love a mid-season entrance.
Yeah, surprisingly, it took a lot of actual back and forth because the season prior, you saw what happened, I think, with Heather and how it was kind of a disaster, and that didn't. And they were looking out for her and her best interest. They were very
Okay, so Blake says that the producers were looking out for Heather Martin and her best interest. We know Heather Martin showed up in a white van. It seemed so funny that it was almost set up, and it wasn't. It's like that's what the rental car place gave her. Some days they give you a sports car, sometimes they give you a white van. C'est la vie. He said they were protecting her, but what we watched was the most cringeworthy sort of arrival. The girls talking trash about her. Of course, they included that all in the edit. So, it's the first time that I've actually thought of Heather Martin arriving and then compared it to Blake arriving. It seemed more organic the way Blake came. It seemed like he had more of a shot at love, obviously, as we saw how that turned out. He did.
I would say concerned, but they wanted to make sure that I was going on there for truly, to meet her and be serious about that, to be serious about meeting her. And it wasn't just about, being a stunt. And so we had a lot of back and forth, and I really talked to them as to why I thought we would be a great fit and why we hit it off and what I really liked about her. And finally, it ended up happening, and I ended up going there. And I wasn't necessarily wrong in my thoughts, but just long term in real life, not so much.
Long term in real life being the fact they didn't make it past a few safe house visits outside of the show. Of course, they got engaged with short notice, and then she broke up with him, I believe, over the phone before going to meet some of his family. It was one of those like, all right, before we start doing this international long distance, let's just nip this in the bud. And without playing any sort of theater, I feel like some couples, they stretch it out a few months. She was like, no, we're not doing this. And it was over. And then we haven't seen too much of Blake other than he's looking good out there on his social media. Big fan of the program. We love Blake and wishing him well. Could he be the next Bachelor? I don't know, but for sure, at the very least, Bachelor in Paradise. He's a non-controversial guy's guy. Seems like enough women have an interest in him, and he's a ton of fun. Sign him up.
Was there any reason why you came mid-season, though, versus the beginning?
That's what I was going to ask, too.
Yeah, so I actually was there for the start.
All right, folks. Well, there you have it. He was there from the start. This is new information. It's December 26, 2022, and we're finally getting new information about Bachelorette summer 2021. I thought he did not show up for the beginning, so this is very interesting. Why did they hold on to him?
I just wasn't necessarily able to get on as early as I would like.
Because of
Was that
quarantine
your
or because
choice?
of them?
Because it was very last minute. As soon as she was announced, it was pretty last minute. So we had to get the paperwork together and all that stuff to make that happen. And so there's also the quarantine process that it didn't allow me to get on as early as I had liked. But I basically was on as soon as I could potentially get on.
So
And why-
I'm still having a question here. He said due to the quarantine process, everyone has to quarantine. So did he show up after the other guys? Again, this is like still sort of not early into the pandemic, but it's still like, one of the quarantine seasons here, right? They were right one of the quarantine season. Yeah, they were of course stuck in Arizona. So is New Mexico, wherever. The point is that I still wonder, did they withhold him for dramatic reasons, or did he show up late? And if he did show up late, why did he show up late? Because it leaked that Katie was Bachelorette, and he reached out to the producers, and it took a little while going up the chain.
Why did you think she was going to Paradise? Did you guys speak?
Well, she hadn't been announced yet. So at that point, I was going to Paradise assuming she was, but there was rumors, right? Like she was potentially going to be the Bachelorette, and there was a couple others in that pool. And I reached out to kind of just see what, like, if she would give me any sign as to what she was going to be. And she didn't say yes or no to anything. It was just a very fluff answer. So I was like, okay, well, I have no idea what's going to go on here. I'm going to go to Paradise. And then as soon as she was announced was when I made the call to
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
And look, this is one of those things. This is what you want. You want someone who knows what they want. You want someone who takes a shot at you, and that's what he did. And this is sort of a rare move in the Bachelor world, where you already know who the Bachelorette is, and you're like, I want another shot. I mean, how many times did this happen? We know it's happened a lot in Bachelor in Paradise, but for Bachelor or Bachelorette, still a pretty rare move.
About Katie that you saw on Matt's season made you think that you guys would be so compatible that you would be willing to risk going to Paradise to go pursue her?
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily what I saw on his season. I liked what she was about with a couple like instances on that season, but I was her social media that got me.
Oh, interesting.
Was just different out there. Her humor. I can be vulgar and she can definitely be vulgar. And so I thought we'd connect on a lot of those fronts. And yeah, I just thought she was really cute. So
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, that's what I based it on.
Steph and Jackie, I love them. God bless the She's All Batch podcast, which, by the way, I believe they have a new Patreon. So if you want a new way to sort of be able to invest in some of your independent creator friends, they have a Patreon. Stephanie and Jackie, you can go check them out on Instagram. She's All Batch. They have a YouTube channel. They got it all, folks. Let's just listen to a clip of this YouTube channel just to give the YouTube some love.
On Katie's season, you did an infamous X-rated painting. There's been speculation of what this painting was, and I'm pretty sure I know what it is. Can you confirm what the X-rated painting was on the group date?
Yeah, that yeah, it was I mean on
Go ahead.
On the episode I called it the Seeds of Life, but yeah, it was exactly, yeah, it was.
I'll say it.
Yeah.
Was it semen splatter?
Yeah.
Splatter?
Yes.
It wasn't
Beautiful,
real.
artistic.
It was
Was not real. It was not real.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I didn't know.
Imagine. No.
Imagine that would be really like an act of love.
Yeah.
Act of love for sure. Definitely. That was a hard one to
Yeah, then you wouldn't just say you bleed for somebody. Okay.
To flip around and talk about in front of everybody.
Who persuaded you to do that, or did you do that all on your own?
Well, it was I had already kind of had that image of like, because the last year I did the clay sculpture of the penis.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So listen, I was like, hey, I'm gonna have fun with this. I'm very loose, easygoing, chill, and so a lot of people play it safe.
Yeah.
Have fun with this, and so that's why I went that route. And because it's her, she appreciated. She was laughing, and after she's like, "That was actually so jokes." I'm like,
"There's no jokes." Is that a cool thing kids say now?
Yeah.
Not in my book. Okay, so anyway, congratulations to the She's All Batch podcast for another fantastic year. I wanted to share with you guys, I've been kind of making fun of the fact that I'm in bear country. I call myself Bear Country Dave. It's been kind of a whole thing. But did you get to see what happened on Christmas Eve for me? Driving back from a place called the Biltmore, which is a giant estate where the billionaire railroad baron family the Vanderbilts used to live. Of course, Anderson Cooper of Vanderbilt, although the fortune was pretty much squandered in only 60 years. That's how you know you're partying. Either way, driving back from this nice evening we had, the sun was going down. And check this out right here. It is literally a family of bears. Now hold on a second. I need to enlarge this in a way so you guys can all see it here. A family of bears crosses by us, and I've talked to people that live in North Carolina in bear country, and some of them say they've gone 10 to 15 years without seeing a pack of bears, and yet there we were getting to see what we thought was at least 4 black bears, and the mama bear we didn't get on camera, but there's bear 1, bear 2, and bear 3, and it's our right to bear joy with our bear friends. Let me know what you guys think. I've got more content coming your way. I hope you appreciate Whisper Dave. It's just the family's still sleeping. It's the checkout day for the Airbnb, so it's going to get a little crazy, so I wanted to get up early, get this content. Hey, look what I got for Christmas. I got an Apple Watch. Yay, that's exciting. Let me know what you got in the comments section, and we have more content coming your way right after this.